what's up. This video is one that was extremely highly requested. A lot of people have DM'd me or just told me that they really want to see this particular video, and I don't have anywhere to set my phone at because I'm on my couch right now, and it's really cold here right now, so I'm just going to hold my phone and tell some stories about my insanely awful teacher while I watch Hannah Montana. Hang on, I'm gonna pause this really quickly. No, I'm not, because the remote just fell. But I'm going to tell some stories about my insanely awful teacher. Some from last year when I was in 7th grade, and some from really recently, like Wednesday. Yeah, that was the day. No, Tuesday. It was Tuesday, not Wednesday, because Wednesday was yesterday. Some from last year, and some from this year, some from Tuesday. So, yeah, let's get on the video. The story takes place last year when I was in 7th grade. So I'm gonna call her Miss Adams. Just a random name that I just came up with. So I'm gonna call her Miss Adams. So Miss Adams was my homeroom teacher last year, and I was kind of excited because I didn't really know her, so it was my first year with whole new teachers because I had the same teachers from the years before, from 4th grade to 6th grade. We're all the same teachers. So I had a new set of teachers, and I was really excited to get to know some new people and get to know some new teachers. But a little bit into the school year, I want to say about 2-3 months, I was being bullied extremely bad. And when I say I was being bullied, extremely bad, it wasn't once every 3 days. It was consistently every day in her classes. No other teachers, because in other teachers' classes, they helped me and they made sure it stopped, but in her class, she laughed and joined in with it. So, in her class every single day, I would be bullied. It was super bad. And I remember one day, I was in her class, and I had walked through the door because it was, I think this one was social studies, because we had her for social studies and we had science with her. So I walked through the door to social studies carrying my stuff, and everybody else is sitting down. And I just walked in. I forget why I was late to her class. I don't know, probably because math went over or something, or my math teacher wanted to talk to me about something. I don't really remember. But I came in and everybody was sitting down, and then every single person in that classroom started making pig noises. Because the thing was, I was fat and I was a pig and all that stuff, so I would make pig noises. And I look over at the teacher, and she is cracking up laughing. She is dying. And so I don't even set my stuff down. I throw it on the ground, and I run out of that classroom. And I got in trouble for it. The teacher yelled at me. She was like, "You cannot walk out of my classroom anytime you want. You have to be in my class," because I stayed out of her classroom that entire day. I did not go in her classroom. I did not do the work for that day because I was tired of being bullied, and I had gone through a lot of stuff in my 7th grade year, with my family and health issues with my family, and it was just really bad. So I didn't go to her class that day. And she yelled at me for it, saying that I should lose a little bit of weight because I am on the chunkier side and the pig noises are really funny. So yeah, that's the first story. And the second story also takes place last year. a lot of the stuff happened last year because, I don't know, a lot of it happened last year, about half of it happened last year. So another story about last year was I walked, her and my parents knew, like, how bad of a teacher she was, because I have loved every single teacher I've ever had. I've loved them, but Miss Adams, like, I hated her, and I still hate her with a passion. So, another thing that happened last year, where there was these two main people who bullied me. And I'm not going to say their names because me and them are really cool now. For some reason, we're just really good friends. But last year, they were insanely mean to me. So they were, where were they? They had detention, I believe. So I was in her classroom, and they had just come back from the detention room. Because in my school, there are three types of detention you can have. You can have a 30-minute detention, which is just during the day, 30 minutes during school. A minor after school, which is just 20 minutes after school. Or you can have a major after school, which is an hour. And they just had the not many, like, 30-minute detention. It wasn't anything too big. And it was during our specials time. So, they had just come back from detention. I was sitting up in her room because we had come up from specials before then. I was sitting up in her room, and I was just, like, so tired because my grandma had been hospitalized the night before because she had broken her back in 3 places. And we stayed at the hospital with her to see what was wrong because obviously we didn't know. So my grandma, I was at the hospital all night, and I wasn't going to go to school. But if I didn't go to school, like, I had already missed a lot of school because of my grandma's cancer. So I just decided to go because I didn't feel like getting yelled at. Keep in mind, I missed a lot of school. So they come through the door, and they were like, "Why is the pig in here? Why do you let barn animals in this class?" And the teacher was like, just once again dying laughing. But this time it wasn't loud because nobody was talking. So everybody heard her laughing and started to laugh along with her. And once again I ran out of the door because I was tired of getting bullied by my teacher. So everybody's dying laughing. I run out. And yeah. That's the second story. The third one has to do with me missing a lot of school. This one's really, really bad. It has nothing to do with bullying. Kind of does. But not that the class bullied me. So I walked through her door, and this was the day after my uncle had passed away. So I walk up to her because she's like, "Why are you so upset?" And I was like, "My uncle passed away last night, and me and him were really close." She starts laughing. So she's sitting there laughing, and I was like, "I'm not going to be here on this day because this is the day of his funeral." And she was like, "You're not allowed to go to his funeral. It's on a school day. You can't go. You've already missed enough school. You have to be here." So I went home. This really upset me because me and my uncle were extremely close. And family comes before anything for me. I love my family. I always will. So I went home and I told my mom, I was like, "I can't go to Uncle Rick's funeral." And she was like, "Why can't you?" And I was like, "Because Miss Adams said I'm not allowed to go because it's on a school day." So my mom went up to the school and was like, asked for a meeting with Miss Adams. So she was like, "It's on a school day. Your daughter can't go. She already misses enough school." So her and my mom got into this huge argument. And, like, she kept saying, "She can't go. She can't go." So we didn't care what she said at that point because we talked to the principal, and the principal said it was completely okay that I missed school because of a family tragedy, or a death in family, as they called it. So I went anyway, and when I came back to school the next day, she was like, "I told you you couldn't go." So I got in trouble for going to my uncle's funeral by this teacher. it's bad. What other things? She also laughed when I told her my grandma had cancer. She just died laughing. And if you know cancer, like if you've ever experienced somebody having cancer, it's not a joking matter. It's very, very serious, and it really takes a toll on your family. So she just continued to laugh. I think that's all for last year. Like, there's a couple of things last year, but this year is the big year because I am in 8th grade now, and I am going to high school next year. Yay, I'm so excited to get out of the school. So, this teacher, this year, in first quarter, I had an A++ in her class the week before report cards went out, because she sent some progress reports. So, I had an A++ in her class. I remember I had 104% of my work turned in her class because I did extra credit. So, I had that grade. And then the next week, when report cards went home, I had an F. And I had no clue how this happened. But I had an F. And when my mom came in, she was like, why does my daughter have an F in your class? When I seen her progress report from last week and she had an A++. She was like, just how it happened. So I applied to a high school, which is a really, really good high school in my area. And it's where you graduate high school with a college degree. And because of that, I did not get into this high school because my grades were bad. In her class, only her class, I had never failed a class before hers. So that happened. And then about 2 weeks later, this part comes in later as well, so keep in mind this coming part. We were doing an assignment and we were broke off into 2 groups because like half the class had detention, like the mini detention during school. So we were broke in half. And so she broke the half that was left in class in half again. So we were both working on the same assignment. It was boys and girls because it was an even number. So we asked her about the question on it, and she gave us the answer. So we wrote down the answer that she gave us, and when it came time to review the packet, we answered with the answer that she gave us, and she laughed at us saying that we had the answer wrong. So we were doing that assignment. We completed that assignment and then turned it in. And then very, very recently, I think like 2-3 weeks ago, she was like, you were missing this assignment. And it was an assignment that we had did in like the 2 parts, and she gave us the wrong answer for it. And I was like, I did that. And she was like, I don't have time to go back and check, so I'll give you partial credit. So I got a quarter of the credit that I was supposed to get because she did not go back and check and see that I turned it in on time. So very, 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 very recently, this was a week ago, I believe, she was like, like I said, she does progress reports, and my grade before was a B+. So that was the week before, and then this week, I had a D in her class. And I was like, this is not right, this is not my grade, you messed up somewhere, and you need to figure out where you messed up, because this is not my grade. So she was like, oh, I did make a mistake. Everybody throw away your progress reports. I made a mistake. So she fixed the mistake, and magically I have a B again. Can you see the pattern here? She is not a good teacher. Yeah, so on Tuesday, I told you guys there was a recent story. On Tuesday, we were doing this assignment, and we are learning about cells and cell division, and like meiosis and mitosis and all that stuff, and we were doing this assignment. So we went around the room, and we had this sheet, and it was a question. There were 10 of them, I believe. So they were all letters, and you had to figure out which letter went with what question, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So we were doing that, and I had 2 answers on my paper so far because we had just started. And she was like, that one is wrong. So I went up to my friend, Haley, who you've seen in my previous videos, and I was like, she said that one's wrong. And she was like, she just told me that that one's right. And so she went up to her again and she was like, is this right? She was like, yeah. Also, the order of the letters was A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. That was the order because she forgot to scramble them up. So that is some of the stories that she has done. That is some of the things that she has done to me. I will probably be making a part 2 to this video once I remember some of the other stuff that has happened in the past 2 years, or what else happens, because we all know she's going to do some more stuff to me to make me even more angry than I already am. We have gone to the principal about her messing up my grades. We are waiting for an outcome. So, yeah, I love you guys. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys next video.